Hi, my name is Deborah Kennedy. I live in Texas, and I listened to Talik's video regarding failure of prayer and God's so-called promises. Things. I was just delighted. I thought it was just very insightful, and I commend you all for putting something out there like that. That we lean too much on what we're told somebody else is looking out for us. And we have philosophies or teachings like that, and we're supposed to be developing that in ourselves. And I appreciate Talik's his powerful delivery. You don't need to call if you're busy, but I just want to pass that along. I was very impressed. Thank you so much. You take care now. Peace and love.
In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always, and welcome to another edition of the Realities Temple on Earth Internet Ministry. Of course, I am the host of this particular program, known here on social media, the internet, or some of y'all still call the World Wide Web. I am known as the mighty Angel Snub Nub 7. I am your brother, and hopefully your friend, Talik Ibn Ra. I would like to first begin our talk by showing us this picture of black women on the front line in Ferguson, Missouri. There are many sad, pathetic black males who may attack me, not directly, but indirectly, behind my back, not face to face, because they don't have that type of persona. That's not the word I'm looking for. They don't have that type of courage. And if you're standing on a weak foundation, it is very difficult to have courage. And the reason why these pathetic black males dislike, even hate your brother, the Angel Snub Nub 7, is because they don't understand. And they wonder why I am so blind, that I can't see that the black woman is an enemy to the black community. That particular thinking, even to say such a thing, bothers my very soul, because I know that such is ludicrous, it is ignorant, it is foolish, and it can come only from a person's mouth that is truly a waste of life, pathetic piece of trash, coming from a black man that you dare stand up in the public. And even if it was true, why would you come in the public and embarrass yourself? Because you're talking about a person that is of yourself, so that others can look at you like the fool that you are and give them more fuel for their fire of hatred for not only the black woman, but yourself. You are such a dumb and ignorant person. In fact, I don't even call you a person, I call you a thing. These are some nasty, trifling things, and they stay the hell away from Angel Snub Nub 7 or any brother that defends the black woman. Because if you are a brother, if you are a true black man, you have no choice. Because it is in our nature to defend mama. And clearly, these men, these black males, have become unnatural. And it is not the black woman's fault. It is the fault due to the enemy of both male and female, descendant of slaves born in America, the racist Caucasian people, and their culture of us living within this racist society that was built upon the hatred and the destruction of those with dark skin, especially we who are the descendants of slaves born in America. So these pathetic black males, pieces of trash, these things, one of the first things they say, oh, he was raised by a single mother. That's his problem. Well, to destroy your argument, that's a lie. My mother was married to my father. In fact, I saw the marriage license. She was a married woman to my father. But my father, I would rather say my sperm donor, my daddy, my pappy, because he was far from being a father, as he was a father to many other children, besides myself. My daddy, my pappy, my sperm donor was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. So, like I have always told you, it is not about a person being married. I would hope, and it looks so nice and it is wonderful that you can find a mate and you can marry that person and y'all can have a happy life. But marriage and a relationship is only good as the quality of the people. If they don't have high character, if they have low morality, then it makes no difference. My mother was married to my sperm donor pappy. But because somebody lacked character, somebody lacked low morality, just being married did not mean anything. It is not the quantity of parents in the home, whether it is a single woman, a single man, or a married couple. It is the quality of the people who are raising or nurturing the children in the family, not the quantity. What if the mother is married to a dope fiend and she's a drunk? So the mother is a drunk, the father's a dope fiend. What type of nurturing, what can they do for the children in the house if they are drunk and high most of the time? And we see this, and this is a reality of ours we see daily. Please explain this to me, you pathetic trash things, black male, black women bashers. Please explain this to me. Again, common sense tells us, and even in nature, it is not the quantity of parents. It helps us, and it is better to have a mother and father in the household. There's no doubt about that. But they must have the appropriate skills so they can nurture those children to the best of their ability, so those babies can have a good chance at success in life. But since we have a slave mentality, we want to find ways to blame ourselves because we come from out an abusive relationship that has lasted for generations, over 400 years. And when you are in an abusive relationship, most times the one who is abused blames themselves for their exploitation. If you are an abused or exploited woman married to your husband and he beats you and verbally abusive, you may blame yourself because you didn't put the dinner on the table at the appropriate time. You didn't run his bath water when it should have been run. Whatever, you find as though it is your fault and you deserve to be beaten. You deserve to be abused. So it is with the descendants of slaves born in America, because of our slave mentality, because we have suffered 400 years of abuse and exploitation. And we have fallen in love. And listen, that woman who is abused, she still loves the person even though he is putting his fist to her eye unjustly for no reason. She loves him. And we express our love, descendants of slaves born in America, we express our love for our people, for a nation that has not shown us no love, but has only continued to exploit us and abuse us. Thus, we have Ferguson, Missouri, and we will continue to have many more Ferguson, Missouris. It is a sign of mental illness to love your enemies. It is a sign of mental illness to love those who cause you harm. But again, we do this because we have become an unnatural people. These black male, black woman bashers, and vice versa, you have black women who bash black men. They are ignorant of our history. They don't understand what has happened to us as a people in this nation. And they suffer from a mental illness. They just don't know no better. But the time has come that you know better. Thus, what has come into existence, organizations like the Nation of Islam, the Hebrew Israelites, this ministry, and more are coming up, individuals. We are teaching our people. We are awakening the minds so they don't continue to fall into this trap, this ditch, this hole of self-destruction, self-blame, when you are not at fault, at the root. Now, once we begin to know, and see, this is the key, our people, we need to know. Most of us just don't know. We are ignorant. Although you might think we should know better, no, for many of us, including some of you who think that you are so smart, you are ignorant. Because you don't know the psychological hurt and harm that has been done to us. And you believe that having money in your pocket is a sign of success. You think sleeping with the enemy is a sign of success. You are a sick puppy. And a puppy, of course, is the Caucasian people's best friend. And yours too. That's why you got a pit bull and got dogs living in your house. You kiss dogs in the mouth. You copy your slave master and their children. You are nothing but Oreo cookies. Some of y'all who are black conscious, you copy and still have the mentality of the European, these European American racist Caucasian slave people. You still have their mentality and claim to know better. You cannot be saved. You cannot be delivered. You cannot even create your own nation, because even if you did, it will fall. It would be just as bad as any other nation on this planet, because all of us continued and we still carry the mud. And we're not doing a good job of washing this mud off, living in filth and decadence, debauchery for over 400 years. An unrighteous, nasty, filthy people. We have become like them in dark skin. In fact, there's no evidence to suggest we were too much better prior. I know y'all don't want to hear that, but there's no evidence to really suggest that you was not too much better prior to the Europeans. The only thing is that the Europeans kicked us in our backside and totally destroyed us. We are the products of a destroyed people. And this is what the pathetic black woman bashing black male must understand. We are a destroyed people. In fact, we are doing pretty good to be a destroyed people. We're still moving up. We're still progressing. It might be slow, but we're still doing pretty good considering we were destroyed. What does the word destroyed mean? If you go outside and destroy a car, but that car, or you harm that car, but you still see it putting down the road, you're like, how is that possible? The car, the wheel falling off, radiator hanging, but it's still going down the road. You don't understand. That's how we are. We're still putting on down the road. And the Caucasian people and everyone around the earth wondering, how is that possible? You don't know how great you are. You don't have to go to Kemet. You don't have to embrace more history. You are a great people the descendants of slaves born in America, we are a great people in and of ourselves. We don't have to piggyback off nobody's history. Be proud of yourself. And see, that's the main problem. You have no pride in yourself because you don't know yourself, because you're trying to be somebody else. You want to be an Egyptian. You want to be somebody from Kemet. You want to be a Moor. You want to be some person from the Bible, some Hebrew Israelite, or whatever these things y'all done came up with, instead of being yourself. That's the main problem. And since you have an identity crisis, you are confused. And if you are in traffic and you get lost and you become confused, you can't get nowhere. Even if you do know where you're going, because you confused. So we know where we want to go. Many of us think that we know how to get there. But because you're confused, you have yet to make it to your destination. I love us, man. Many of us believe we are awakened. Well, you need to be awakened again because you've fallen asleep at the wheel. And that is the purpose of this ministry. And that is the purpose of many brothers and sisters who are coming up different from what we were taught traditionally or what we were taught in the past that we believe was successful. But if it was successful, there would be no need for the rise of new voices coming from among us. It was beautiful and we enjoyed it, but it did not produce what is needed. But we learned from that, and now we are here. And because you reject the new prophets, because you reject the new warners, you continue to suffer. But yet and still, y'all believe in God, and you ask God for relief. You ask God for your freedom. But when God raises men and women up among you, because they sound different, because they look different, you reject them. Even though you were taught early in our Christian life that the Jesus came unto his own, but they received him not. You need to look more into those of whom you are rejecting, because chances are they are carrying the message. They are carrying the plan. They are carrying the ideas to give you the freedom, justice, and equality that you claim that you want, or are you fake? And the only thing that you really want is to live comfortable with your slave master and his children. Let us be real. So my mother was married, and my daddy was a Rolling Stone. And I was the only boy among sisters and my mother. So I was the only boy for a long time. And basically I was surrounded by my grandmother, my aunts, my mother, and sisters. And I had a few uncles. They were the only men that was around me were my uncles and my grandfather. But unfortunately, and it is sad to say, that even as a young boy, I did not view them and I did not see them as an example of manhood. I just didn't see it. So I gravitated towards my mother, my sisters, my aunt, grandmother. Because I know, as a boy, I knew that I was a male, and I understood what it was to be a boy or a male. And I knew I wanted to grow up to be a man. I knew that. But when I looked at my grandfather and my uncles, these and other men that came into my life around me, I did not see the example of manhood that I wanted to be, even as a little boy. And see, what many of these black women bashers don't understand, young boys are watching you. I don't know you because you hide your face. Some of these guys don't hide their face. But boys are looking at you. Boys are watching you. And even though you hide your face on social media, there's some young boy who know what you're doing. And they watching you. And in their mind, you sad and pathetic. Just like when I was a little boy. What type of black men were around me? The black men that were around me were whoremongers, which as a little boy, I really didn't know what that was, but I saw that they were abusive and exploitive and were not treating my mother and my sisters and women in a nice manner. As a little boy, I saw that. They were drunks. We used to go to church and I saw the preacher was a weak type man. I did not like that. There were no strong men around me. And there were no men that came into my life to help me or teach me how to be a man. And there was no man or no male that protected me and came to my aid. So in my life, and maybe this was a good thing, because now it takes me to this place where it is critical that the black woman be defended. It is a critical time where the black woman must be put on a different level. And in my life, women have always protected me, nurtured me, made sure I was well. Not only the black woman, but other women, including the Caucasian female, have taken actions to make my life more comfortable and protect me from harm. So I have no choice but not only to defend black women, but stand up and speak for all the women around the planet. Because next to racism, this evil of making the woman inferior, that must be dealt with. The black man don't mind fighting racism and putting the black men in leadership position, which is no problem. But you have failed to do what you're supposed to do. And when the woman stand up and tell you that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you want to get angry and mad at her. Because you're the coward. Because you lazy. But at the same time, you claim to be a protector. You claim to be a provider. You claim to be all these different things. But you're none of those things. And you get angry at the women because they remind you that you are a failure. So since you refuse to be a provider, since you refuse to be a protector, then damn it, she got to protect herself. And that's what the black woman has been doing ever since slavery. Because from the very beginning, she knew that the black man was destroyed. When a Caucasian devil can come into your house and you don't say nothing and he raped your wife and your daughters, and he could still do it today, you said, oh, it wouldn't happen to me. Oh, yes, it would. You don't even want to lose your job. So if you don't want to lose your job, we know what these people can do to us. You afraid for a job. So the black woman, if the black man can't do it, she has no choice but to stand up for herself. The black man of America, many of you, you allow personal experiences because you want to romance the black woman. You want her as a girlfriend. You want her to lay down with you. You want her as a wife. because of personal experiences that didn't go well. You allow these personal experiences. You allow that to taint your judgment. And you want to paint all our sisters like the one that you hate, which is unfair. It is unjust. At the same time, when a black woman paint black men because of her experience with a certain idiot, you got a problem with that. I'm not like that, but you do the same thing. Bottom line, we have two destroyed people trying to have a connected relationship. Very difficult in and of itself, because both of you are sick in the head. Your vagina might work, your penis might work, but your mind don't work. And some of y'all might say, I never mind you, Negro. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, yes, I do. That's why the truth hurts. Truth hurts. But it is better to be hurt and do not reject the truth, but accept it and work on ourselves. But we don't. We rather be sick. And so since you would rather be sick, you continue to lay in your own filth in this dirty bed that has yet to be cleaned after 400 years. If I judge black women based on my personal experience, I might be like you. I've had good relationships with women and bad. But I understand, because I'm not ignorant of our history, because I understand the psychological damage that has been caused to us. And I also understand that that individuals are just ignorant, stupid. I cannot blame our sisters as a whole, because as a whole, our sisters have been holding down the fort. I understand and know history. And not only that, but I can see the reality of our women out here. I don't allow the racist Caucasian people and their media, I don't allow them to paint my vision of what I see right here in front of me, because the reality is, if the black woman really was like y'all talking about, she would not be standing on the front line in Ferguson or at any other time. And you may not believe this or not, some of these women y'all call ratchet, hair hats, weave wearers, whatever you call them, many of them, even in their sickness, they understand that there's a need for justice, and many of them even step to the front line. Where are y'all at? The black man. Playing video games, putting up pretty posts on YouTube and Facebook, hiding your face. But the black man's supposed to be so strong. And in this particular picture, you even see some Caucasian men right there. You shouldn't allow nobody to do your fighting for you. You're going to allow Caucasian men and women to do your fighting for you. And you doing all this talking and stuff on social media. Get the hell out of here. Y'all pathetic things. You have yet to become human beings. Sad excuse for black men. And that's all you can do is talk. That's all. I've been on front lines all over this country at one time or another. I'm willing to stand. My problem is I'm no longer standing for issues when separation is the ultimate answer. That's what you should be standing on. You need to separate. As long as we sleep with dogs, we're going to get fleas. So you're going to have Michael Brown, more Trayvon Martin. You're going to continue to have this. until you decide it is time to separate. And even your God tells you in these religious teachings, always tell the prophets that the people of God, the oppressed, you must separate from the wicked. But we have a love, and we have a fear of separation from these evil people. You know, I love black men, not in a homosexual manner. I'm not into that. It's unnatural. I'm a natural man. I love black men if I can find them. The word is if. I don't see many men. I don't see many men because y'all hiding your damn face on social media. Scary ass. But you a man. You so tough. I wouldn't care what somebody what they think about what I'm saying. Because you scared to lose your job. Whatever you afraid of. Mr. Man. So I can't see you, Mr. Man. I love black men if I can find them. And even in all this writing, I don't see strong black men on social media. I'm keeping myself a secret. Yeah, you keeping yourself a secret, all right. You scared. You a coward. As a boy, like I told you, there were not many real black men that I could view as an example of manhood. My first real example of a man was reading a book called Message to the Black Man in America by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He became my first example of manhood. And by the time I became a teenager, there came into my life real men I could see, I could touch. I could touch Louis Farrakhan. I was right there in the room with him. I talked to him. And at that time, he was a strong black man. He was the only one really out there speaking for us. Akbar Muhammad, Zaki Burudi, my uncle, who was also in the Nation of Islam. And in the 1980s, there were no stronger group of men in the United Snakes of America than the Fruit of Islam. All the black men in the Nation of Islam, the Hebrew Israelite nation. These were the example of strong black men that I had as a teenager. And I could see that for real. And watching them as an example made me stronger. Oh man, you think I'm nothing to play with right now? When I was a teenager, really full of fire. Woo! Ha! Boy, y'all just don't know. You couldn't do nothing with me for sure. The only difference now is that I'm a little wiser and I understand things more clearer. At that particular time, I even had a love, and I still love Dr. King. But when I heard on a record that my grandmother had one of the speeches of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he said, "You can kill my wife and children, and I will love you," then that destroyed my relationship with Dr. King, because there was no way, and even as a child, there's no way that I could tolerate. And I knew I could not love anybody that killed my grandmother or my mother or my sisters or any of my relatives and talk about, "I love you." When I was in the Nation of Islam, I spent a lot of time not only with the Fruit of Islam, those brave men wearing bow ties hitting the streets of St. Louis, New Orleans, and New York City, and Detroit, Newark, New Jersey, Los Angeles, California, all over this country. But I also had the honor and the privilege of spending a lot of time with the MGT, Muslim Girls Training General Civilization class, the vanguard of the Nation of Islam. And you want to know something? The reality was, and I was around the sisters, really almost as much as I was with the brothers. But the sisters had more fire than the men did. The only difference is that the MGT, because they were females, they were not allowed to do such and such. But they had more fire and drive than the F4I. And a lot of people don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. That's the truth. For some reason, men get fired up and the fire begins to quench. But women, that fire holds a long time. That's why no matter how y'all talk, no matter how y'all bash black women, they stand toe to toe with you. And you don't understand. They don't back down. And the more you fire at them, the stronger they get. You don't understand that. In our history, many of y'all claim to be history buffs. But women actually step back to give the men a chance because the black man has been destroyed. And it is also natural that you be the provider. It is natural for us to be the defender. But we have not defended and provided for a long, long time. And we don't have the fire. And we don't have, oh man, let me get a drink of this water. We don't have the fire. And that's because we don't have the love. We don't have the love of our woman and our babies because we don't love ourselves. Oh, man, it brings me tears to my eyes. That's the problem, black man. You don't love yourself. That's why you don't love the black woman. And that's why you don't love black children. That's why you don't love us as a people, because you still don't love yourself. You are destroyed, man. So instead of working on yourself, you'd rather blame the black woman. You'd rather blame the thugs and all this other stuff, the hood rats, black children. Instead of accepting the reality, I'm a destroyed person. I got to work on myself. I got to get myself together. And if the black man get yourself together, nature will make everything else fall in place. The black woman will get herself together. And when the black woman get herself together, the black children will get together. And we'll get this devil off our back once and for all. But you destroyed and you don't know these things. You're still living the life and have the mentality of a slave. And a slave don't know no better. A slave is confused. Some slaves don't know whether to stay on the plantation or run away. That's how you are. You don't know what the hell you really want to do. Again, many of y'all said that you're history buffs. Then you will know that our women have been the driving force in this country. In all the churches, it's women. In the civil rights movement. And I will even tell you, in the Nation of Islam, the only problem is they were not allowed to do certain things. Because the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wanted to give the man a chance to step up to the plate. Because the woman, he already know that the woman can handle her business. In fact, I heard one of the tapes of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And he was talking about expanding his organization around the earth. And he was not talking about sending the black man to these places, but the sisters. There's a reason why. There's a reason why the woman is the missionary. You send her in first. First of all, she's pretty. She's soft. And hiding behind that softness, behind that motherly glow, she's aggressive and she takes care of business. And that's why a woman is more acceptable than a man is. A man is macho and he looks more threatening, but a woman is more soft. And many will let your guard down due to the form of a woman. But above all, she has that aggressiveness. And that's why Elijah Muhammad, that's why these men who were smart, they send the woman in as a missionary. She's the one that goes in first. You don't know what you done. And of course, you know, when another man sees a woman, regardless to her race, you know that you sort of let down your guard a little bit. Especially if she looks a little nice. Especially if she got a little form. Y'all know that's true. Woo! So, even in the 1960s, where were you, black man? When you look at the images from the 1960s, Dr. King and many of these black men, yeah, we were the face of the civil rights movement, and Dr. King and others, they spoke, but who was really the driving force? It was black women. And in some cases, you even seen children, very young children and teenagers step up to the plate. What was the black man? Getting drunk. What was the black man? Trying to find a prostitute. What was the black man? He was a coward. Black men. So it was important for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, when black men came to the nation, that he make an attempt to try to put the brothers on the front line, because we have not been at the front line for a very long time. Even in 2014, where's the black man? Y'all hiding your face on social media. You're afraid to face drug dealers. You're afraid to face the racist cops. You are afraid to face the enemies of the black community. You are afraid to face the forces that shape and form the mentality of your black woman that you don't like, that cause her to be a hair hat, that cause her to be a hood rat, to cause her to be a weave wearer or whatever, and our children being influenced to go into crime. What are you doing, black man? I'm a video game player. What are you, black man? You're a whoremonger. You're a junk. You're a drug addict. Basically, y'all, we have become cowards, and you don't want to hear that because that's the reality. In our history, there's always exceptions to the rule, and there have always been black men that did stand up. Many of our brothers were outright killed. So if the Caucasian slave masters, if they were killing off, even though we were destroyed men, the slave master was killing off our strong black men, who was left? The cowards. So common sense tells me that many of us, we are the children of the cowards that survived. Because many of the strong black men that could have been our examples, the slave master, as soon as possible, he killed them all. So the black women saw this. So they knew they had to step up, and the black woman has stepped up ever since slavery. And you don't like it because it makes you look bad. And it makes you look bad because that's the reality, because you continue to allow this to happen. Black women, even black children, if I don't have a mother and the black woman falls, then black children have no choice. They got to step up. That's just natural law. When you are at war and your first reserve, your first line of defense, it begins to fall, then the second line got to step up. And if the second line fall, then the third line got to step up. That's just how things go. The black man in America, we as men, we have failed. You talk a good game, and there's a lot of things that you want, but you have not earned that type of honor. We have not earned praise. We have not earned our manhood. That's just the reality of it. And we don't want somebody to tell us that we are failures. It is better to accept the real truth of the matter and begin to reach out to our brothers and say, look, we're going to change this. We got to become different examples of manhood for the sake of our boys. Otherwise, you have a little boy like I was when I was a child. I looked at the men that were around me. I didn't want to be like you. I looked up to my mother for strength, my grandmother for strength, because they put clothes on my back, shoes on my feet, food in my mouth, roof over my head. And how dare you? You think I'm going to turn my back on mama? You got to be out of your dang mind. Ain't happening. Instead of being angry at women and children, instead of even being angry at the racist Caucasian people, you need to be angry at yourself for being such a coward and unable to use your brain to come up with the solutions to change your condition. So it is not no shock to me that I would see a picture like this and somebody had an article to go along. I'm not even going to post the link to the article, but the title of the article was Black Women Hold Front Line in Ferguson, something like that. The picture speaks for itself. You can put this picture back in history, and you always have a black woman's face there. At some point, the black woman has stepped up. In fact, she stepped up defending the black man, trying to keep us from being murdered and killed and slaughtered. Because she understood, I got to save you, my beautiful black man, for another time when you come and get back in your right state of mind so you can pay these people back for what they done to us. I'm going to carry in the DNA of my womb so that my sons, when the proper time is right, my boys going to wake up and they going to handle business. As a woman, I can't do it because I got the strength. I got some strength. I got some vitality. I got some smarts. But this is a man's job. And that's why the black woman, she will step back because she understands this is a man's job. But if you ain't going to do it, then I got to do it. I got to handle my business. The silly black males of YouTube. So pathetic. So pathetic. I've never been around and never heard men like this. I don't understand. These on social media and many of these guys that I have met, the weakest, childish people I've ever met and been around. Silly. And most of them don't like black women, got a problem with the black woman because they are weak. They have a penis. That's the only thing that makes them a man. They don't have nothing else. They don't have nothing else. They have no brains. They don't have no brawn. Still filled with self-hatred. They will beat up a black woman, a black child, kill another black man. But we'll run and hide and come up with every excuse in the world and explain to you how we have to get along with devils. So with that said, thank you for listening. I want to say in my conclusion to the people of Ferguson, Missouri, although I don't agree with your methods, I am glad that you've taken some type of action against evil instead of always this crying. Because a vicious enemy like this, they don't care nothing about talk. You have to do something. You have to take some type of action. These people are bullies. The racist Caucasian people are bullies. One of the main problems that they claim in America is being bullied. And the children only copy the adults because they see how America goes all over the planet bullying people. So the children are bullies. And the only thing a bully knows and respects is force. All these preachers talking about love everybody. But your same Bible talks about there comes a time. There's a time for love, but there's a time for hate. There's a time for peace, and there's a time for war. So my preacher friend, all y'all goody two-shoes, trying to find everything in the book to love. When does the time, after suffering in this nation for 400 years, after all our bodies all over this country go to the morgue, when does the time come that we hate? When does the time come that we finally declare war? Well, if you go to war, you're going to lose. That's not a guarantee. There were great forces in history that the people you would think would have no chance to defeat. But those forces were defeated. Because when a people get sick and tired, you're not going to stop them. The only thing that's stopping black folks, is we are not sick and tired enough. And the enemy fears the day when we can't take it no more. So they fill you with entertainment. They hope that you keep your mind on the NBA game. They hope